بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ولي الصالحين وأشهد أن محمدا خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين اللهم صل عليه وعلى آله الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد اللهم علمنا بما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. Once again, I thank Allah Azza wa Jal to help us for helping us together today in this inshallah blessed gathering. I ask Allah that He makes us among the people who remember Allah Azza wa Jal and the people who Allah Azza wa Jal will mention their names in the Day of Judgment. So inshallah today we'll be continuing our talk and our reminder, a very important topic indeed. As I mentioned last week, some of the hadith about its importance, and it is indeed حسن الخلق الخلق أو المكارم الأخلاق, based on the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad صلى الله عليه وسلم, إنما بعثت لأتمم مكارم الأخلاق. I was sent only to perfect the noble characters. And I have explained briefly about the misconception of people about حسن الخلق, thinking that having a good character, noble character, means that you don't do anything, you just mind your own business. This is not حسن الخلق. This is not the makarim al-akhlaq. This is not the noble character that I'm talking about, or Islam is talking about. Rather, حسن الخلق, Allah Azza wa Jal in many ayahs in the Quran, He mentioned some characters, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in many ahadith, He mentioned the virtues of many characters, and Allah Azza wa Jal and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they warn against and they warn from the bad characters. So today, inshallah, and we have spoken briefly, we have talked briefly about the حسن الخلق toward who? Having good character toward who? Toward Allah, we say, toward the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's about the important people, or the important ones, which is Allah Azza wa Jal, the important one, Allah Azza wa Jal, and then the important person on earth, which are the prophets and messengers, and of course the final messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, having good and noble character toward the people that live among us, we said that the most important one are the parents, and we mentioned briefly the importance of the parent, especially the mother. I have emphasized the mother because unfortunately nowadays many people, they have that that figure of father being authority of the house. The father, we fear our father because we respect him. He's the man of authority in the house. Rather, the mother, she's the mother in the house, and she's very, very hanina, which means she's very very kind-hearted and everything. So we tend to forget to respect our mother. So that is why the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he emphasized about respecting the mother and showing good characters and good company toward our mothers. And Allah Azza wa Jal, He mentioned in the ayah also that I have mentioned last week. Now, let's talk about the remaining of the people who you should or you must show good characters to. So after the parent come obviously the scholars. The scholars, as we say, because the parent, they are your parents in terms of nurturing you, giving you food and everything. Scholar, they're like parents as well. However, they are your spiritual parents. They nurture you in terms of spirituality, and in terms of getting closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. And I don't think I'll be talking about that because I believe that some of our previous talks, our brother Sheikh Abu Usama, he mentioned the virtues of scholar, the virtues of seeking knowledge. So I won't be going into detail, but just to remind you the importance of respecting our scholars. Very important, especially the scholars of Islam. The scholars of Islam who follow the path of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they follow the path of as-sahaba, at-tabi'in wa atba' at-tabi'in, wal madhahib al-arba'a, al-a'immat al-arba'a, the four imams. Those scholars, we are talking about those scholars, not the scholars, the thinkers and everything. And and we respect them in an extent, but we don't respect the same way we should respect the scholars of Islam. Why is that? Because the angels, they put their wing, they lower their wings down toward the scholars out of respect. And because they love what a scholar is doing by seeking knowledge, by spreading that knowledge of Islam. It's a legacy, inheritance of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is why it is important. The angel, if the one angels respect them, so what about you? You should show respect to them, and you should pray for them. Pray for their forgiveness. Pray for their mercy, for Allah's mercy. Pray that Allah Azza wa Jalla will forgive them if they fell into some error, and pray for Allah's mercy if some of them passed away. You have to remember them in your dua as well. It's very important. And if Allah Azza wa Jalla has blessed you to meet them, you have to show respect by not looking at them directly. Try to put your head down. Try not to raise your voice over his. And when you ask a question, don't ask silly questions. Unfortunately, we kind of ask some question in which that may hurt the scholar. The scholar doesn't want this type of question. Especially, Allahul Musta'an, this is our time, we're living in the time now, question about him and him, what he did, what he does, what she did. No, this is not the type of question which the scholars are happy to answer about. Of course, sometimes one needed, one necessary, but not all the time. Don't take it as if it is your hobby. That's about scholars. Now, Islam also taught us and teaches us to respect the elders, the elderly people, as well as Islam teaches us to respect and have mercy for the younger people. That is why the Prophet Muhammad said in a hadith, لَيْسَ مِنَّا مَنْ لَمْ يُوَقِّرْ كَبِيرَنَا وَيَرْحَمْ صَغِيرَنَا وَلَا يَعْرِفْ لِعَالِمِنَا حَقَّهُ. Is not among us the one who does not give respect to our elders, and the one who does not show mercy to our youngest youth, to the young age children, and the one who does not give the right of a scholar, the one who does not know the right of a scholar. So Islam is a very comprehensive religion. Islam, when it teaches you manners, Islam has not left anything out. Islam has taught us, walillahi alhamd, everything. You have to respect our elders. Don't raise your voice over their voices, especially the front of your fathers and mothers. And respecting them, it is obeying your parents. It is respecting your parents. Because one of the hadith, some of the companions, look at their eagerness and their love for being obedient to their parents. They asked the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, O Messenger of Allah, Ya Rasulullah, if our parents pass away, if our parents die, how could we keep obeying them after their death? Prophet Muhammad ﷺ told them, remember them in your du'as and respect and obey their friends the same way that you respect and you obey your parents. So you have to respect them. If the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ talk about their friends, which are not their relative, what about their relative, your uncle, your aunties, and so on and so forth? It's very important to respect also the relatives. So this is about respecting the elders and showing mercy to the youth. Now another thing is showing good manners towards your relatives. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He mentioned in the Quran from the Huquq al-Ashara, the 10 rights. Allah He mentioned the 10 thing in which we should, they have right upon us. We should fulfill their right. And He started with wa'budullah, and then He said, abil walidaini ihsana, show kindness and goodness to your parents. Wa bidhil qurba, the relative, very important to show relatives. What is a relative? Relative is everyone that is related to you from your mother's side or father's side. That is your relative. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, Allah Azza wa Jal, He warned again the one who cut the ties and cut the relation with the relatives. Allah Azza wa Jal, He cursed them in the Quran. In many ayahs in the Quran, Allah He cursed them. They are cursed. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in many ahadith, That is why it is very important to show respect and to keep that tie. Even if you think that they're not that practicing, they don't come to the masjid, then it is your duty to go to them, to phone them, and to find out why, and to give them an advice. That's very important. That's about relatives. We spoke about the elders. Now, your family, and what I mean by family, your wives and your children. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he emphasized to be good towards your family, especially towards your wife. That is why in the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, many companions, they started to be harsh against their wives. And then the wives of these companions, they came in numbers to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, saying, they're complaining, saying, oh, my husband did that, my husband has been harsh toward me, and everything, and so on and so forth. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came out after the salah, and he said, I have heard the believing women complaining about the behavior of their husbands. He said, know for sure that the best among you to Allah Azza wa Jal is the best toward their wives. And I am your best of you because I am the best toward my wives. Islam, be good toward your wife, because the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in another hadith said that they're like a prisoner to you, meaning that they stay at home, they cook for you, they obey you, they do things for you, they raise your children while you're outside, and you think that raising children is easy. It's not as easy as we think. It's very hard, it's a hard job. That is why you have to give them at least respect, and you have to be merciful, and you have to be kind towards your wife. Even if they scream at you about things, about dunya things, nothing to do with religion, dunya thing, naam, be kind toward them. I'm sure that you have heard Aisha radiallahu anha, or some of the wives of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, when they were shouting at him about something in the house. And Abu Bakr as-Siddiq was there, and he was angry at her. He said, what do you do? Why are you raising your voice over your Prophet Muhammad ﷺ? Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, ala mahlik. Calm down, Abu Bakr. This is between a husband and a wife. You don't interfere into these things. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was really, really kind toward them. Until Anas ibn Malik, who was serving the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and who was serving in terms of who was working for the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. He said that I have stayed under the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, what's the word? Under his house or under his work. I was working for him, I was serving him for 10 years. He said, in those 10 years, I never heard him saying to me, oof, why did you do that? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And at the time he was young. He was in the teenage. He was a teenager. And he said, I never heard him shouting at his wife, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was always smiley. He was always being patient. Be kind. Because you're already a man of authority at home. You got the authority. So don't try to show off that authority to your family. No. Especially Allahul Musta'an, Allah's help is sought that we show our kindness and goodness to brothers, but when we go home, we start to be mean, and we start to behave bad toward our wives and children. This is bad. This is not among the characters and the noble characters in which the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was sent down. We talk about family. Now another point as well, showing good manners towards your neighbors. Very important, neighbors. Whether they are Muslim or not Muslim. In the حقوق العشرة in Surah An-Nisa, وبذي القربى وبذي القربى واليتامى والمساكين والجار ذي القربى والجار الجنب والجار ذي القربى. Allah is saying that al-jar, the neighbor which is close to you, relative and non-relative as well, they have a right upon you. Even if they've been mean to you over some things, now calm down and give them what they want. This is how the Prophet ﷺ was. They threw rubbish and bins in front of his doormat. He was able to say to the companion, go on, you can go and respond to them by, or deter them, or scare them. Some of the companions, they were angry. They say, oh, Messenger of Allah, let us deal with him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But he said, no, they're my neighbor. And you know the story. And then one day he didn't find any bins for a few days, and then he went to his father, and they were Jews, and he went to his father and said, what's going on? Because he knew that something was wrong, and he said that his son was dying. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did not leave. He was so forgiving, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Even your neighbor, Jibreel alayhi salam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that Jibreel, لا ما زال جبريل يوصيني بالجار حتى ظننت أنه سيورثه. Jibreel kept recommending me to be good toward our neighbors until I thought that he might give him the right of inheritance. Your neighbor, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the way how Jibreel recommended him, he kept recommending him to be good, be kind, be good to your neighbors, be kind, be good. Until he thought, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that maybe one day Jibreel will come to him and say, they have a right to inherit from you. To show how Jibreel alayhi salam, and Jibreel, he doesn't advise Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he did not advise Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam unless Allah commanded him to advise him to be good toward our neighbors. Very important. Now, if they are Muslim, it's even more wajib, it's even more compulsory to be good toward them. And if they are not Muslim, then it's still wajib, it's still compulsory for you to be good toward them. In the hadith, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, narrated by Abu Dawood, and Shaykh Albani, he mentioned that it's sahih, that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that when you cook for your family, cook extra. When you cook, he mentioned maraq, when you cook soup, or when you do some soup or idam, which means like some soup, cook it extra so that you can leave some for your neighbors. This is the type of noble character that Islam is teaching us, to be good. Now you may say, but hold on, brother, if the neighbor are being bad towards me, yes, you have to keep your calm, keep your anger. Even if it's related to Islam, even if they call you names, they call you this and this, keep calm, smile back at them. This is the best way of response, because they're provoking, they're asking you to fight back. But we live in a time of where the da'wah is weak. We live in a time, in a period of Mecca, how the Prophet Muhammad was in Mecca. And even in Medina, the story that I narrated to you about Muhammad with his neighbors, Jew neighbor, was in Medina. Even the time of strength, where you're able to respond back to them, or take them to court or whatever. No, don't do that. They are your neighbor. Be kind to them. Be patient toward them. It's very important. They're calling you names, fine. Smile back at them. La bas. This is how the Prophet Muhammad was. So we spoke about neighbors, we spoke about elders, we spoke about the youth. Now we speak about generally what kind of manners that a Muslim should have. Generally, about all of them. Your neighbors, your relatives, your children. From the best characters is as-sabr, patience, to be patient. Patience is the character, the most difficult character that a Muslim can gain. That is why in the hadith, the Prophet Muhammad says, وَمَنْ يَتَصَبَّرْ يُصَبِّرُهُ اللَّهُ. Whoever strive hard to learn the patience, Allah will give him the patience. Because it needs striving. You need to strive to be patient. It's not something given. Some of the characters, Allah Azza wa Jal has already created in you. That is one of the companions, Qais ibn al-Ashaj, he came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, you have in you two characteristics, or two characters, in which Allah and His Messenger love so much. Al-hilm wal-anat. Al-hilm is to be clever, cautious. When you decide to do something, you do it in a careful way. You don't be hasty. You don't decide, you don't be hasty in your decision. You take your time, you consider, you calculate how to decide things. That's al-hilm. Wal-ana is to be patient, forbearing. You've been patient and you do things slowly. Don't do things in a rush or in a ta'anni min ar-Rahman. Ta'anni, being slowly and everything is from Rahman. Don't be hasty. This is the two characters in which that companion had. And then he asked him, he said, are these two characters that I have gained throughout my knowledge, I have gained them, I have acquired them throughout my life, or are these the characters in which Allah created in me? He said, no, these characters are the characters in which Allah created in you. There are some characters Allah blessed them with, blessed some people with. There are some people, you see them, they are very patient. Some of them, they are not patient. There are some people, Allah Azza wa Jal blessed them intelligent. Some of them, they don't. So we need to know that if Allah blessed you with a good character, don't say it's coming from me. Say, Alhamdulillah, Ihmadillah. Praise Allah Azza wa Jal for having blessed you with this character. And if you don't have that character, then learn it and strive for it. It's not easy. It's not a matter of months, days. It's a practice, training. You need to train yourself to it. In hadith, إِنَّمَا الْعِلْمُ بِالتَّعَلُّمِ. Knowledge comes with learning. وَالْحِلْمُ بِالتَّحَلُّمِ. Al-hilm is, as I mentioned earlier, al-hilm, which means think things carefully. When you decide carefully. Al-hilmu bit-tahallum. That cautiousness or that carefulness, when you be careful, comes with tahallum. I mean, you have to learn how to decide slowly. You have to learn. It comes with the time. Sabr as well. If you don't have that sabr, and we all خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ مِنْ أَجَلٍ. Allah says, and mankind was created with ajal. Ajal means with hating it. We love being hasty. We love having things straight away. No. Be patient. You have to learn that patience. This is one of the best characters. And the other good characters that will make you dealing with people in the best way is al-afu, forgiveness. To forgive others. To forgive others. Forgiveness is one of the great characters. It's the character of the Anbiya wa Rusul. Allah Azza wa Jal, He commanded Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to forgive. خُذِ الْعَفْوَ وَأْمُرْ بِالْعُرْفِ وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. In many ayah, Allah Azza wa Jal, He commanded the believers, وَلْيَعْفُوا وَلْيَصْفَحُوا. Safah and afu is almost the same. Afu is mean forgive them, and safah mean turn away in terms of don't respond back. Don't respond back. Forgive them and don't respond back. Just turn away from them. Don't respond back. And in many occasions, I have personally heard some scholars, Allah bless me that I have sat with them, when they were asked, some people say that about you and you and you. They go angry. They went angry and say, what you do now, you're doing namima. You're causing trouble between me and this scholar, or between me and him, or between me and some type of people. He said, as for me, everything they said about me, I take Allah as witness that I have already, and you as witnesses that I have already forgiven them. Even if they keep saying about me, I forgive them. Look at the mashayikh, how they are. They're very forgiving. This is the way of the Prophet and messengers. Alayhimus salatu wassalam. Be forgiving. And the third type that will make you dealing with people in an easy way, and inshallah, people will love you, and inshallah ta'ala, you will be very close to Allah, and you will be among the neighbors of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is to be good, kindness, rifq. Show that kindness to people. Don't be harsh on them. ما جعل الرفق في شيء إلا زانه وما نزع من شيء إلا شانه. This hadith was said when Aisha radiallahu anha, she heard some of the Jews going to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and giving that greeting, saying Assalamu alaikum, mean may the death be upon you. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he responded wa alaikum, and to you too as well. And Aisha, he said, may Allah curse you. Why did you say that and everything? And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, calm down Aisha, calm down. Haven't you heard what I said? I just said, and you too, in a kind manner, smile manner, smiling. And then he said to her, ما جعل الرفق Allah inna Allah rafiq yuhibbu rifq. Allah is kind and He loves kindness. And Allah, He does not make, or everything that is accompanied by rifq, by kindness, Allah will make it beautiful. And everything that is not accompanied with kindness, Allah will not make it beautiful. Allah will make it like ugly. Meaning that people will see it as, oh, there's no blessing in there, there's nothing. It's not beautiful. You have to be kind when you do things, when you deal with things. Be kind. And kindness goes to tawadu', humbleness, modesty, down to earth. Is the opposite of kibr, show off. Showing off, the Prophet Muhammad in many ahadith says that will never take you to Jannah. Showing off is a quality of Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah Azza wa Jal says, showing off is my rida, my coat, if I can call that, or my garment. Whoever is trying to share it with me, I will break him. Don't show off. Be kind. And especially nowadays, unfortunately, and it is very, sad to say, and Allah al-Musta'an, and we've all been through that, is that we say we are Salafi, and then we start to become harsh toward others because they're not on the manhaj. This is not the way of the scholars of Salaf al-Salih, never. This is not the way of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You are Sunni, you follow the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was never like that. Never. He was always down to earth. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You may say, but if you're too down to earth, people will take advantage of you. Let them take advantage of you. Because don't look at people's eyes towards you. Oh, you are humiliated, you are that, you are that. Rather look for what Allah is looking at you, how Allah is looking at you. Well, I can advise you, I can give you glad tidings. The Prophet Muhammad says, ما تواضع لله أو من تواضع لله أو ما من أحد تواضع لله إلا رفعه. Anyone who is down to earth, anyone who is humble, down to earth for the sake of Allah, Allah will rise him and raise his level. In this life, indeed, because of your tawadu' and because of your patience, it is a character very hard to have. It's not easy. Be down to earth. Feel sorry for the people, mercy. And from the great characters as well, as-sidq, truthful, don't lie. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين. Be truthful toward Allah. Be truthful toward people. Don't lie. Don't deceive them. And from part of deceit, that you deceive your Muslim and you're not Muslim, is that you don't advise them. You are kind of deceiving them. Advise them if they need advice. Amar bil ma'ruf and nahi anil munkar, enjoining good and forbidding evil. But again, if you want to do that, do you want to make your enjoining good and forbidding evil beautiful? What do you need? Ar-rifq, kindness. Be kind when you talk to him. If necessary, text him in a kind manner. If he's somebody with status, a sheikh, then name him, say a sheikh. Ya sheikh, ya this. Everyone is different on his level. If he's your parent, your uncle, deal with him and speak to him nasiha in a nice manner. And the best way scholars say that of giving nasiha is you think yourself, you put yourself in his shoes. Put yourself in his shoes. How would you like someone to come to you and give you nasiha? With harshness? Would you like that? Would you like people to expose you and to say, oh, look at him, he did that and that? Would you like that? No one would like that. But if someone come to you and take you to a restaurant and you eat with him, half an hour of, mashallah, you open his heart, you eat, you invite him, and then after half an hour, the purpose of all that is to give him nasiha for the sake of Allah. Ya akhi, I believe that you did that, and it is wrong. You should be doing that. Trust me, he'll accept straight away from you. It's very important. Be truthful. Don't deceive. Don't say, example, you know what, he asks you something and you go, you're not being truthful. You've been shy. It's not the correct, it's not the shy al-mahmood. It's not the praiseworthy shy, being shy, not to tell him the truth. Tell him the truth. Even if he asks you something religious and you feel like he is affected by that, meaning maybe he meant, that question he meant for him, be truthful. Say, Ya akhi, this is haram indeed. Allah says, don't we all love Allah? Don't we all love Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He will say, of course we do love him. Don't you want al-Jannah? Of course I do want to. Don't you fear nar? Of course I fear nar. And Allah says that. You speak from the Quran, the speech of Allah. They will accept from you straight away. But if you say, no, this is wrong, what you do is wrong. Oh. But be truthful. Don't say also, akhi, I think, you do. No. Don't go the way around. You have to be truthful. It's very important to be truthful. Another character, very important, is to be shy, al-haya. To be shy toward others. Don't raise your voice. Don't speak words that have no sense, nonsense. Don't laugh loud. And in a hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentioned, Inna Allah azza wa jal, إن من أحبكم إلي وأقربكم مني مجلسا يوم القيامة أحاسنكم أخلاقا وإن أبغضكم إلي وأبعدكم مني يوم القيامة الثرثارون والمتشدقون والمتفيهفون. قالوا يا رسول الله قد علمنا الثرثارون والمتشدقون فما المتفيهفون؟ فقال المتكبرون. Hadith narrated by Tirmidhi, and it was narrated as good by many of the scholars. The Prophet Muhammad said, the people that are the closest to me in Jannah and the most beloved to Allah are the people with good characters. And the people that are not closest to me in Jannah, that are the farthest from me in Jannah, and that are the most disliked and hateful to Allah Azza wa Jal, are al-thartharun. Al-tharthar, it's like a chatter. You just talk, nonsense. Talk about things. And then one day, you may fall into ghiba, into backbiting. You may fall into causing problem between Muslims, namima. Keep your word to a minimum. Which is what the Prophet Muhammad said in a famous hadith, من كان يؤمن بالله واليوم الآخر فليقل خيرا أو ليصمت. Whosoever believes in Allah and in the last day, then he speaks good or he becomes quiet. In the hadith of Mu'adh ibn Jabal, a long hadith, when he asked the Prophet Muhammad about Jannah and how to get him far from nar, from hellfire. Prophet Muhammad says, you ask him for something big, but it is easy for whosoever Allah makes it easy for, makes him easy for. And then he mentioned the good deed and everything. And then Idam, when he mentioned the optional deed about praying in the night, about doing charity, giving charity, that's the optional deed. We're not talking about fard, we're talking about optional deed. And he said, do you want me to show you something that will be sufficient for you than doing all that optional deed? For you, it's sufficient. If you do that, it's sufficient. And he showed to Mu'adh his tongue. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He did that with his finger. And then Mu'adh said, Ya Rasulullah, أَوَنَحْنُ مُؤَاخَذُونَ بِمَا نَتَكَلَّمُ بِهِ? Are we going to be accountable for what we say? Prophet Muhammad was angry. He said, وَهَلْ يَكُبُّ النَّاسُ عَلَى وُجُوهِهِمْ إِلَّا حَصَائِدُ أَلْسِنَتِهِمْ. And the people that will take to hellfire, many of the people that will be taken to hellfire, they've been taken to hellfire only for their tongue, for the bad, for the illness of their tongue. Another hadith, when the Prophet Muhammad mentioned about the bankrupt, he said, do you know who is the bankrupt? The companion said, the one who lost his money. He said, no, this is not the bankrupt to Allah. The bankrupt is the one who is in the day of judgment, come with the salah, come with the zakah, come with hajj, come with siyam, with fasting, come with good deeds. لكن شتم هذا وضرب هذا وأخذ مال هذا. But he insulted so and so, and he backbited so and so, and he took money unlawfully from so and so. And they will take his hasanat, until he has no hasanat left. The sayyi'at from the people will be given to him until he will become bankrupt, and then he will be thrown to hellfire. So it is very important to keep your tongues and to keep your words to a minimum. Don't talk. And I would like to end this talk with a saying of Shaykh al-Sa'di rahimahullah ta'ala, when he talked about husn al-khuluq. In a few words, he said that حسن الخلق هو خلق فاضل عظيم أساسه الصبر والحلم والرغبة في مكارم الأخلاق وآثاره العفو والصفح عن المسيئين وإيصال المنافع إلى الخلق أجمعين، فهو احتمال الجنايات والعفو عن الزلات ومقابلة السيئات بالحسنات. وقد جمع الله ذلك في آية واحدة في قوله خذ العفو وأمر بالعرف وأعرض عن الجاهلين. Al-Sa'di, one of the very famous scholars, and he passed away about 40 years ago, one of Shaykh bin Uthaymeen's teachers, one of his teachers, rahimahullah, he said that al-husn al-khuluq, good manners, is to have the best of the manners. Try to have the best of the manners, and it is a great virtue. And asasuhu, its foundation, is as-sabr, patience. Al-hulum, mean cautiousness. When you deal with things, you deal with things with cautiousness, with carefulness, you calculate things. And al-raghba fi makarim al-akhlaq, meaning that you want good, you encourage good manner, you want good manner toward others. You don't keep it for yourself. You want that good to be shared to everyone. وآثاره, and what's the effect of that? The effect of having good manners is that you will be forgiving. You forgive people. And you will وآثاره العفو والصفح عن المسيئين, which means that you forgive the people and you turn away from the people who did who did bad things to you, who harmed you. People who harm you, you turn away from them. You don't respond back to them. وإيصال المنافع, and try to reach that manafi', that goodness, try to reach it out to people. فهو احتمال الجنايات. Everyone who comes to you and harm you, you have to be تتحمل, you have to be patient, and you have to forbear and keep it to you. والعفو عن الزلات, and if they make a mistake, then forgive them. ومقابلة السيئات بالحسنات, and to respond what the bad thing that they're doing to you, respond them with the good حسنات. وأتبعي كما قال الله تعالى ومن أحسن ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين ادفع بالتي هي أحسن السيئة. Respond back any bad thing that are coming to you, respond them back with good. And then he says, and what I'm saying, he said, what he's saying, Allah Azza wa Jal has mentioned in one ayah, خُذِ الْعَفْوَ, take the easiness, the ease, take the ease. Allah commanded Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, take the ease, O Muhammad. Take the ease mean forgiving and be easy toward people. وَأْمُرْ بِالْعُرْفِ, and command good and join good. وَأَعْرِضْ عَنِ الْجَاهِلِينَ, and turn away from the people, from the ignorant people, people who harm you. Turn away, meaning forgive them, turn away from them. And this is what I would like to say about Husn al-Khuluq, and there are plenty to talk about, but this is shortly. And if you're asking what is the best book of Husnul Khuluq, then the answer is simple, is reflecting upon the Quran. Reflect upon the Quran. The Quran is all calling about Husnul Khuluq. That is why Aisha radiallahu anha, when she was asked, she said, how was the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? How was his manners, his khuluq? He says, kana khuluquhu al-Quran. His manners and characters was upon the Quran. And Allah Azza wa Jalla has praised him. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. And you are indeed upon a great characters. And then after the Quran, if you want further, read the story of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Read the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, calling to good characters. And this is very important to read and to ponder and to reflect upon them and try to remember those virtues, so that maybe in your life you can walk. This is your minhaj. This is your way of life, how you walk. And also, finally, walk with people of good manners. Don't walk with people unless you want to advise them. That is good. But if you want to take them as a friend, well, as you know the hadith that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, مثل الجليس السوء وجليس الصالح كمثل البائع المسك والنافخ الكير. The example of the good friend and the bad friend is like the one who sells, the good companion and the bad companion is like the one who sells misk and the blacksmith. So the one who sells misk, either you buy misk from him, either you learn something from him, or at least if you haven't learned anything from him, you smell something good from him. Because he sells misk. And the blacksmith, means the one who works with metals and iron, either he will burn your thing, meaning it will, it will influence you and you will do bad, you will have bad manners, or either if he hasn't influenced you, but you will see from him bad things. So that's the three important things if you want to gain good characters and noble manners. And I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to provide us and to bless us with good manners, and ask Allah Azza wa Jal that He makes subhanahu wa ta'ala our good manners in our scale in the day of judgment. هذا والله أعلم وأصلي وأسلم على نبينا محمد وآله وصحبه سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت وأستغفرك وأتوب إليك وجزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.